This 3 exercise series you can do at home. I like to use a thicker resistance band for the traction, so the first one, and a thinner resistance band for the band supported lowering. So have 2 bands, you can do it at home, but I also like to do this before I go and do lifting because it gets my hips open and it gets me in control of the range that I open them up to by using my core as well. So we've got a figure 4 traction with a band. We've got a band assisted single leg lowering, which will then lead into a dead bug. So I'll talk you through it as we go. So set up the band, gonna get the thick one, wrap it around a rack or any support, any upright that's stable. You need a fair bit of tension when you do this. So I'm gonna move back. From here, I'm going to focus on just breathing and making sure that this band is right at my hip crease. What I'm trying to do is imagine that if this is the head of my femur and here is your hip socket, then I'm imagining that as I exhale, that I'm allowing my leg to fall away from my hip socket. And I'm using my breath and the nutation and counter nutation that goes on through your pelvis when you breathe to allow that hip to open up in this externally rotated position. So we're just going to do 5 breaths each side. I want you to close your eyes so that you can really get into the feeling of the movement. And I can feel my hip just letting go already. But while in this position, we're going to take a big breath in. So I'm not thinking about the knee doing this. I'm thinking about this happening proximally. So that means close to my center. I'm only thinking about this. Just letting the band take my leg. If you're not feeling it, go up in band resistance. Over time, you'll feel less, but I've had some people feel really aggressive stretches even with a light band. So you'll just have to work your way up with that just as you would anything. So 5 breaths. Important to really empty your lungs, as that's what's going to allow you to get in that exhale position, which starts to get your anterior core bracing, which is going to help support your entire core when you start to do loaded lifts. So do 5 breaths each side, and we're going to go to a single leg lowering. So we go around one leg, around two legs. I'm going to use my right leg. What's a good angle here? So this loop, so left foot, left hand, left loop, goes over the knee into the hip. And I'm going to keep that pulled in tight. Now, since I've just opened the hip up, I've got this range that I can start to play with assisting my core, having my leg higher that we currently don't have active control over. Okay, and we're just going to take a big breath in, keeping that back pressed into the ground, and I like to engage my supporting leg so everything is stable and I'm controlling my leg down to the floor using my core and hips. Big exhale as I lower. At the bottom, I want you to do a dig the heel in, get the glute active. So now you've got this kinetic chain of foot, you've got calf, hamstring, glute, quad, all tight in one chain while your core is active because you've exhaled and you're pressing that back into the floor. So all of that needs to stay active, and then you're going to start to get active like motor control back through this range. Big exhale, big inhale, big exhale on the way down. So here, glutes on, quads on, everything's tight. It's one chain ready to support me during loaded lifts. So you're gonna do 5 lowerings, 5 exhales with 5 lowerings with 1 exhale per rep each side. Then with that new active range and control, we're going to go into the dead bug. Make sure that you reach up towards the roof, crunch the abs, pull the knees up, and now we have range through our hip to control this. And so I want you to do that same lowering, dig the heel in at the end range. So big breath in. Dig the heel, straight leg, one chain, reaching back with the arm. Exhale to flatten the core. Inhale, come in. A lot of people think dead bugs are great and they do shitloads of reps, but when you do 10 hard reps and you're focused, like if you want to make it harder, just imagine that you're getting less of your spine on the ground. So you're hollowing out, or you're creating like a bowl or a dish with your spine. And so you've only got a very few amount of vertebrae while reaching up, tucking your pelvis under, and then you start to get really good anterior core bracing tension. And that will make your dead bugs a lot harder as you exhale as well. So 10 will be enough there. You can go through once or twice. Once is probably fine. That's your series before you train.